Good morning. Today we're going to read a book called Stone Soup by Anne McGovern and pictures by Winslow Penny Pels. Now this story is about a traveler. Does anyone know what a traveler is? A traveler is a person that moves from place to place, maybe kind of like sometimes it's a vacation, sometimes you want to see a new place or a new forest or a new destination away from your house. And this boy here, he's a traveler. He goes from place to place, but he has a problem. He is very, very hungry. And in this book, we're going to find out how he solves his problem. Let's check it out. A young man was walking. He walked and he walked. He walked all night and he walked all day. He was tired and he was hungry. At last, he came to a big house. "What a fine house," he said. "There will be plenty of food for me here." He knocked on the door. I wonder if anyone's home. A little old lady opened it. "Good lady," said the young man, "I am very hungry. Can you give me something to eat?" "I have nothing to give you," said the old lady. "I have nothing in the garden. I have nothing in the house." And she began to close the door. "Stop," said the young man. "If you will not give me something to eat, will you give me a stone?" What's a stone? It's like a little rock. You're right. I wonder what he's going to do with the stone. I think the old lady was surprised too. "A stone," said the little old lady. "What will you do with a stone? You cannot eat a stone." "Ah," said the young man, "I can make soup from a stone." Now the little old lady had never heard of that. Make soup from a stone? Fancy that. "There are stones in the road," said the little old lady. The young man picked up a round gray stone. "This stone will make a wonderful soup," he said. "Now get me a pot." Is that a nice way to ask for something? What could you say instead of saying, "Get me a pot"? Please, that's right. The little old lady got a pot, filled the pot with water, and put it on the fire, the young man said. The little old lady did as she was told, and and soon the water was bubbling in the pot. The young man put the round gray stone into the pot. "Now we will wait for the stone to cook into soup," he said. The pot bubbled and bubbled. After a while, the little old lady said, "This soup is cooking fast." "It is cooking fast now," said the hungry young man, "but it would cook faster with some onions." So the little old lady went to the garden to get some yellow onions. Into the pot went the yellow onions with the round gray stone. "Soup from a stone," said the little old lady. "Fancy that." The pot bubbled and bubbled. After a while, the little old lady said, "This soup smells good." "It smells good now," said the hungry young man, "but it would smell better with some carrots." There she is with her onions. So the little old lady went out to the garden and pulled up all the carrots she could carry. Wow, that's a lot of carrots. Into the pot went the long, thin carrots with the yellow onions and the round, gray stone. "Soup from a stone," said the little old lady. "Fancy that." The pot bubbled and bubbled. After a while, the old lady said, "This soup tastes good." "It tastes good now," said the hungry young man, "but it would taste better with beef bones." Huh. Do you think she has beef bones? Let's find out. So the little old lady went to get some juicy beef bones. Into the pot went the juicy beef bones and the long thin carrots and the yellow onions and the round gray stone. "Soup from a stone," said the little old lady. "Fancy that." The pot bubbled and bubbled, and after a while the little old lady said, "This soup is fit for a prince." "It is fit for a prince now," said the hungry young man, "but it would be fit for a king with a bit of pepper and a handful of salt." She's getting the beef bones. So the little old lady got the pepper and the salt. Into the pot went a bit of pepper, handful of salt, the juicy beef bones, the long thin carrots, the yellow onions, and the round gray stone. "Soup from a stone," said the little old lady. "Fancy that." The pot bubbled and bubbled. After a while, the little old lady said, "This soup is too thin." Kind of like means it's too watery. It's not very thick. It's a thin soup. I wonder what she's going to put inside of it to make it thicker. Let's find out. "It's too thin now," said the hungry young man, "but it would be nice and thick with some butter and some barley." So the little old lady went to get butter and barley. Into the pot went the butter and the barley and the bit of pepper and a handful of salt and the juicy beef bones and the long thin carrots and the yellow onions and the round gray stone. Wow, there's lots of things going in this soup. I'm kind of surprised that when the boy met the woman at first, she said she didn't have any food, but it seems like she's finding a lot of stuff for the soup. "Soup from a stone," said the little old lady. "Fancy that." The pot bubbled and bubbled. After a while, the little old lady tasted the soup again. "That soup is good," she said. "Yes," said the hungry young man. "This soup is fit for a king. Now we will eat it." "Stop," said the little old lady. "This soup is indeed fit for a king. Now I will set a table fit for a king." So she took out her best tablecloth and her best dishes. Then the little old lady and the hungry young man ate all the soup. The soup made with the butter and the barley and a bit of pepper, a handful of salt, the juicy beef bones, the long thin carrots, and the yellow onions, and the round gray stone. Wow, they're having a big meal. He must be excited because he's very hungry. Looks like he found a way to solve his problem. "Soup from a stone," said the little old lady. "Fancy that." "Now I must be on my way," said the young man. He took the stone out of the pot. He put it in his pocket. "Why are you taking the stone?" said the little old lady. "Well," said the young man, "the stone is not cooked enough. I will have to cook it more tomorrow." And the young man said, "Goodbye." He walked on down the road, and he walked and he walked. "What a fine supper I will have tomorrow," he said to himself. "Soup from a stone. Fancy that." So he was traveling. He had a big meal, and he's off again to travel to somewhere new. What do you think he's going to do with that stone? The next time he goes to a house and knocks on the door, what do you think he's going to do with that stone? You can tell me about it below in the comments, or you can leave a voice message for me. Thanks, guys.